Canada's new, slightly used Prime Minister, Marcus Carnivorous, recently swore in his new and presumably improved cabinet. Some of you may not realize this, but upon further research, the government is not run by a sentient set of doored shelving where Canada keeps its cups. Rather, responsibility is divvied up between a group of people who are presumably supposed to be more intelligent than furniture. Now, finding out exactly who is in the new cabinet took a lot more effort than you might assume because all the news organizations kept wanting to give their thoughts about who was in the cabinet rather than just giving a clear list of who's in the damn cabinet. Eventually, I just Googled government cabinet, and that actually got me to a Government of Canada website. And I'll be honest, some of the names of these cabinet positions are kind of wild. Like, there's positions that I definitely feel like Carney was like, okay, yeah, we need someone to run the Treasury Board, so we're going to put someone in there. But then you've got ministers like Patty Hajdu, I'm going to screw up a lot of these names, but her position is a Minister of Jobs and Families and Minister responsible for the Federal Economic Development Agency for Northern Ontario. It's kind of like, oh yeah, with my job, I always think of how it's tied to economic development in Northern Ontario specifically. Then you've got Joel Lightbound, the Minister of Government Transformation, Public Works, and Procurement. Government transformation sounds kind of like a big deal. I'm not really sure what he's supposed to do. I'm just going to assume that he's responsible for preparing for another attack from the evil Decepticons. Then you've got Eleanor, I'm not even going to try her last name, Minister of Emergency Management, Community Resilience, and Minister responsible for Prairies Economic Development. Should prairies be plural? When I Googled, does Canada have multiple prairies? Google gave me a long-winded shrug emoji, and I feel like I should probably already know the answer to this growing up in Manitoba. Now, what is Eleanor going to be doing? I don't know, but I suspect she'll be responsible for hanging up the phone when Danielle Sith calls. There's also former Vancouver Mayor Gregor Robertson, who I think should probably be the minister of being suspiciously conventionally attractive. Like, if you're watching a movie and this guy shows up, you instantly know that at some point the heroine is going to end up in a steamy makeout scene with him halfway through the movie before you find out that he was the unnamed villain the whole time. So, it's a good thing he's apparently in charge of housing infrastructure and Pacific economic development. Are we screwed? I really hope he's not actually a villain. I've skipped over a bunch of them, but one of the other really weird ones is Evan Solomon, Minister of Artificial Intelligence, Digital Innovation, and Minister responsible for the Federal Economic Development Agency for Southern Ontario. Why the hell do we have a Minister of AI? That sounds like creating a Minister of Offshoring Assets and Jobs, or a Minister of Encouraging Young Mothers to Drink. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not fundamentally against AI in principle. One could argue that much of the toxicity around AI comes from the fact that most of the research and model training, etc., is being done by private industry, funded by VCs, and involves a lot of not just unethical, but frankly illegal stuff. But of course, it's not like the companies are going out of their way to document the crimes that they're committing, and it would be very difficult to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that they had done illegal stuff and that all of the obvious illegal stuff wasn't just a lot of coincidences. Now, what will this minister actually end up doing? I have no idea. I'd love to claim that this is going to be a sign that Canada is going to have some really future-focused approach to AI where the benefits of it get shared with all Canadians. But at the end of the day, as we've seen with DeepSeek and OpenAI, much of the research and development being done in AI these days is laying the groundwork for ways of making models. At the end of the day, OpenAI burned billions of dollars to make a model that China was then able to distill into something more efficient. And they'll never have to pay OpenAI for any of that. At the same time, it's hard to argue against the idea that the Canadian tundra wouldn't be a perfect place to build the world's data centers that chew through heaps of energy in part just for cooling, when in the tundra for much of the year you could just open a window. Either way, Canada has a new cabinet, and we will know who to blame if things don't get better.